All right, it's day 20. You've been trekking along, and I'm sure that you're curious about some of the postures. I get these questions all the time. Hey, I can't do this pose right. What should I do? Or when I try to straighten my legs in down dog, my back rounds, what should I do there? So I'm going to give you a few hints and suggestions about common things that tend to go wrong in your poses. If you want to get another day in, you feel like, hey man, I want to do my whole practice, you can watch today's video, go back and do yesterday's video or one of the other more challenging videos that you really enjoyed. You can repeat some of these practices. Don't worry, they're all good for you. Keep doing them. Okay, cool. Hit the like button, leave a comment on, let me know if any of these tutorials or suggestions helped you in your postures, and subscribe to the channel. It's free to you, and it'll just give you a reminder every week when I release a new video. Nothing else, no crazy cat videos in your junk box or anything like that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. All right, let's look at a few postures from the sun salutation. So these are the basic postures that we would want to use to warm up with. However, if our body is very limited, when we do the warm-up, we might need to modify that warm-up. So classic sun salutation, you might not want to be doing the full expression of the posture. You might be wanting to take modification. So when you do these, I recommend standing in front of a mirror so that you can see what your body looks like. So if you don't have a mirror, you can watch, pause it, go over to the mirror, check it out if you don't have a mirror by your computer. So the first common misalignment that I see is just with Tadasana. When I see people stand in Tadasana, most of the time they're prone to what their feet normally do, whether it's turned out or turned in. Most people that I see tend to have their feet turned out. So first is the feet. Feet are together, pointing straight ahead. And then the legs are our support system. So through the energy of the legs, we're able to stand up tall, how we stand on the feet. So one way that you can practice standing up tall is just up against the wall like this. You can bring your heels up against the wall and then bring your head to stack neatly up on top of your spine. We spend most of the day like this, or seated like this, or trying to think of other jobs. A lot of jobs nowadays you have to sit like at a desk or something most of the time. So to be able to bring the head all the way back up on top of the spine can feel pretty awkward when you're learning to do that. So it's a good idea to practice your mountain by just standing like this. It also feels like kind of extreme for my shoulders, because my shoulders are used to just kind of like sitting like this. Okay, so we set that intention for Tadasana. Okay, now let's practice a couple other postures. Ooh, look at how upright I am now. Cool. Okay, so then when you go to take your arms up, you practice staying upright instead of letting the head fall forward or the hips fall forward. You can even practice that at the wall. The next posture is Ardha Uttanasana, the half forward fold. So when you go to the half forward fold, if your hamstrings aren't long enough, you might need to be bringing your hands up onto blocks or onto shins instead of having a rounded back and trying to yank your neck. So we want the whole spine to lengthen evenly into the movement. You can also bend your knees if that helps you. You can see how much more length I get through my midsection when I bend my knees, because I haven't warmed up yet. The most advanced variation would be to have the fingertips next to the toe tips and still be creating a flat back. All right, the next one is the forward fold, or Uttanasana. To be able to do Uttanasana, you need a tremendous amount of flexibility in the back body. So to practice learning this, you can give the knees a bend so that the pelvis tips. Especially if when you straighten your legs, they either lock back, or if when you straighten your legs, your back pulls up away from the floor. So you want the spine to release towards the floor as the legs straighten. Okay, so those two poses, those will be good indicators of what's going on with your down dog. Usually if I see students who can't do those two poses properly, I know that in their down dog, they will need to bend their knees because they won't have the flexibility of the back body to be able to do down dog. So in down dog, It's more important to me that you have the length of your spine than if your legs are straight and your back rounds up. So for those students, I recommend bending the knees and lengthening the spine. Then starting to lift through the thighs over time without the spine popping up to the ceiling. It stays lengthened out. So again, I highly encourage you to check yourself out in front of a mirror. Pause the video, go check it out, because I can't tell you enough how many people I even give these instructions and even give these demonstrations to, like live in class, and then they continue to do the posture the improper way. Even myself, one of the things that amazed me is the way I used to practice twisted triangle. And I would hear it in workshops, I would hear it in my teacher's class, and one day she just came over to me and made me look in the mirror. She's like, do you know what you look like in this pose? And it was like mind-blowing. I had no idea that I was like completely hunched over in the twisted triangle. She's like, you need to use a block for a while until you can learn to lengthen your spine. And it blew my mind. I had no idea. Sometimes our mind-body connection isn't quite what we think it is. So check yourself out, or even people got a mirror. If you don't have a mirror, then you could take a video of yourself. You got an iPhone, I bet, something like that. Okay. So the last thing that I want you to think about is your chaturanga and up dog. So when you practice up dog, the shoulder blades should not round up into the ears, nor should they pull down away from the ears. They should stay balanced, and the shoulder blades should stay on the back. So this is an example of the shoulder blades staying on the back in low cobra. When I come up into up dog, the tendency, if I don't have the mobility, will be to hinge from the lower back and stick the shoulders into the ears. Instead, I would rather you practice low cobra, setting the blades on the back and stretching the legs, and slowly start to wake your way up, drawing the shoulder heads back and the chest through. Even if you can't lift into the full expression of the pose. Then is the infamous chaturanga, which I demonstrated the other day on the blocks. If I were to do Tadasana, chaturanga looks like this. Not like this. So one of the common misalignments that I see in chaturanga is people will lower and they'll go like this towards the floor. And then they'll slide through into their up dog like this. Okay, so the shoulder shouldn't round, the head shouldn't go faster. It should look like Chaturanga Dandasana means the four-limb stick pose. So your body, from your ankles to your hips to your shoulders to your ears, should look like a plank. So let me see if I could do it. All right, here we go. If you're not able to create that position, then you need to be doing it with your knees down and building strength. And so what I recommend, if I'm doing a video where I lower to chaturanga and then go into up dog, then I would recommend just doing a few chaturanga push-ups to build the strength, especially if you don't have the up dog right yet either. And you do a few chaturanga push-ups, build the strength. The standing poses, when practiced regularly over time, will start to give you the elasticity and the mobility so that your up dog will get better. So practice your standing pose as well, do these little modifications, try it out, and I think this will add like a new dimension to your practice. It'll help to give you ideas of where you need to improve and really to be focused on the foundational postures, which are those basic standing postures, basic seated postures, and basic back bends and back strengtheners. All right, thanks for watching. I hope it was helpful. Namaste.